found in my bathtub. There is a miniature ancient civilization. I know, it sounds crazy, but I'm sure my mental state is absolutely normal. That gray mass is not mold, nor dirt, not because I haven't slept all day. Think it's a real castle, right in my cheap rental house, in a porcelain bathtub. Around the drain, gathered in a circle of gray-white buildings. At first, I thought it was soap scum piling up lines, until I picked up the magnifying glass, saw things smaller than ants. Under construction, city walls, they have no facial features, like a human form made of pale dust. Their movements are uniform. Every time you swing an invisible tool, can hear a very subtle, like the sound of electricity flowing through. I hold toothbrush in hand, breath parked in midair. The development of that civilization is astonishingly fast. Just the 10 minutes I've been watching, they've finished from the rough top 10 iteration to some kind of fine arch coupon structure. They don't need rest, no need to. The only purpose seems to be expansion. I try to use my finger to touch a little guy on the edge. The moment my fingerprints pressed against the surface of the bathtub, the creatures stopped. Thousands of pinpoint-sized heads lifted at the same time, laugh at me. Then I felt a tingling from my fingertips. It's like there are countless red-hot fine needles into the meat. I jerked my hand back until a drop of blood oozed from the abdomen. That's their warning. I rushed out of the bathroom and even forgot to turn off the lights. Heart pounding violently in chest cavity. Reason tells me should pour a bottle of bleach into it right away. Completely wash away this grotesque ecosystem. But I didn't. An indescribable snooping and seizing. My apartment in an old tube building. It was already overcast. And now that white bathtub became the only fire in the room during the day. I found all the available observation equipment in the house. A high magnifying glass. There is also a micro saw that was originally used to repair cameras. Put the camera on the edge of the bathtub, connected to the computer screen. The moment the screen lights up, I took a breath. They're not splashing. That's not random acid, but a spectacle. Right in the middle of the drain is an altar. Hundreds of little gray people dragging something towards the altar. I adjust the focus. The image is getting clearer. They're not dragging the same kind, nor food, but hair. A few long curled black hairs. That's not my hair. I have short hair, is hard, and this hair is soft and slender. Apparently belong to a woman. I feel cold in my back. I just moved into this apartment. Previous tenant, Teresa's, left. Should have been cleaned up long ago. Why the depths of the bathtub will have such a hair? Even weirder, the way those tiny creatures treat this hair. They're not cleaning him up, but in awe of him or afraid of him. They wrap their hair around the altar posts. Then started a weird dance. It's a rhythm full of violent beauty. I don't know lip language. I don't understand the slightest bit of that weak winning. But I can feel that emotion is anger. Extreme anger. Suddenly, there was a sharp knock on the door. Heavy rhythm. 3 long and 2 in this dilapidated tube building. This knock on the door usually means trouble. I close my laptop, take a deep breath, and walk to the door. Mouth through cat's eye. I saw a face full of flesh. The landlord who rented the house at the time. I didn't open the door right away. Instead, ask him what's the matter through the door panel. The landlord shouted gruffly outside the door. Said the residents downstairs complained about a leaking bathroom. He's coming in to check the pipes. This moment, my alertness is at its highest. I've only moved in less than a week. I have seen the residents downstairs. An old lady with a back ear. He can't hear me walking around the house at night. How could it be sensitive enough to detect slight water seep? And it's still 11 p.m. I told the landlord it was too late. Let's talk about it tomorrow. But the landlord didn't give up. He said in an almost threatening tone, "If you don't let him check, I am solely responsible for the loss of plumbing violence. And he has a spare key. If I don't open the door." He came in by himself. I feel weird. Why is he in such a hurry to get into my bathroom? I glanced back at the closed bathroom door. There is a micro-civilization evolution going on there. Now I have to make a choice. If you let him in, found unusual noises in the bathtub. Things can get out of hand. If I don't let him in, he forced his way in. Conflict will escalate. I opened the door. The landlord squeezed into the house. Eyes are a little erratic. He didn't look at me, but still looking in the direction of the bathroom. At that moment, I am sure he doesn't care if there's a leak downstairs. His goal is that bathroom. I stand in front of him, blocked the hallway with his body. Try to sound calm and tough. I said I could let him check, but I just got out of the shower. It's full of water, paint, not dressed. Let him wait 2 minutes and I'll clean up. The landlord stared at me unintentionally, finally nodded. Standing in the living room, I went back to the bathroom and locked the door. Heart pounding. I rushed to the bathtub. Want to see if those miniature creatures are still there? They disappeared. The bathtub is clean now. Only the faint water stains around the drain. As if everything just now was my hallucination. That hair is gone, too. I was stunned. Am I really crazy? But I immediately saw something was wrong. The metal filter at the drain was lifted, exposing the black sewer. Like something retreat with those hairs. Although deep, I quickly covered the filter, turn on the faucet and flush the fish tank. Create the illusion of just being used. Then open the door and let the landlord in. The landlord walks into the bathroom. His movements are weird. He didn't check the plumbing. I didn't see if there was water on the ground. He went straight to the fish tank, bend down and stare at the drain. His face is almost on the ceramic surface. That focused look is creepy. I stood at the door and looked at him coldly. Ask him what he's looking at. The landlord straightened up sharply. Expression, friendship, momentary panic. He faltered. Just to see if the sewer is blocked. Then I touched two under the sink indiscriminately, just left in a hurry. The moment you close the door, I realize this house hides a huge secret. The landlord knew there was something in the fish tank, but he may not even know. That's a dangerous civilization. He's looking for something else. Maybe looking for the owner of that hair. After that night, I never dared to sleep again. I bought a new lock and put it on the door. And at the bathroom door, sprinkled with a layer of lime powder, Late at night, on the third day, WeChat civilization reappears. This time, they are 10 times bigger than before. The walls of the bathtub are full, dense plank road. The magnificent city connected to the bottom. It's no longer an off-white earthen structure. Instead, it has a dark red metallic sheen. I take a closer look, a churning in the stomach. That's not metal, that's a frozen cigar. They collected something from the sewer, used it to build this bloody city. I realized right away, deep in the sewer, there must be in a steady stream of building materials. I set up the macro camera again. The picture on the screen makes my scalp tingle. Those microscopic creatures evolved. Their limbs become slender and stronger. Sharp weapon in hand. They are arranged in a square at the bottom of the bathtub. Seems to be waiting for something. Suddenly, a black water gushed out of the drain. That's not sewage, but some kind of sticky, fishy liquid. Miniature creatures boil. They rushed to the black water, greedy collection. Carrying, and after the black water fades, there's something left on the filter. It's a small piece the size of a fingernail. I use the child carefully picked out the fragment, put it under the microscope. That's a piece of fabric, blue with fragmented white patterns. There are burn marks on the edges of the fabric, dark brown spots embedded in fibers. I remember the first day this fabric moved in. I swept a button through the gap under the bed. The exact same blue thread is wrapped around the button. I thought it was remnants of old clothes. Throw it in the trash. I started piecing together clues in my head. Former tenant, female, long hair, wear blue floral clothes. She disappeared or moved away. Left this apartment in a hurry to rent. The landlord excuses the tea house late at night. In fact, it is confirming whether the drain is reversed. What evidence? And these tiny creatures in my bathtub. Whatever they are scavengers. They are coming from the depths of the sewers. Little by little, the hidden secret. Carry it up while I'm thinking. The picture on the screen has changed dramatically. Those creatures don't carry anymore. They started in the clearing in the middle of the bathtub. Build a huge stage. No, that's not that stage. A model. They use cigars and dirt. Extremely accurate restoration of a scene. I looked at the model that was taking shape. Cold sweat soaked my back. That's the living room of this apartment. Even the sofa in the corner, hanging on the wall. Even the water glass I just put on the table. It's all perfectly reproduced by them in proportion. They have some kind of wind crowd consciousness, ability to perceive and reproduce the surrounding environment, followed by two slightly larger microscopic creatures. Into the center of the model, a bloated, another skinny. It's a pantomime, a reenactment of the past. Bloated villain holding a miniature hammer-shaped object hit the back of the slender little man's head hard. The slender man fell. Then the bloated little man started dragging the corpse, dragged all the way to the edge of the model. That's where the bathroom is. I stared at the screen. Breathing is about to stop. It's not just imitation. This is the line of memory. These creatures absorb some residual information in the environment, or they absorbed the violence. Every microscopic particle built thus reconstructing the truth. That bloated little man has no facial features, but a slightly puckered posture when walking, exactly like the landlord. Suddenly, the picture on the screen trembled. Those tiny creatures, like sensing a huge threat, run away in an instant into the drain. Next second, I heard the key go into the door lock. Click. The lock core is turned halfway. Stuck eye changed the lock. The people outside the door obviously didn't expect the lock to be changed. Pause for a few seconds. Finally, the key is pulled out. Footsteps lingered in the corridor for a while. Fade away. I rushed to the living room. Look out through the cat's eye. Empty hallway. Only sensor lights flickering. But I know he didn't go far. I go back to the bathroom, looking at the empty bathtub. Although those miniature creatures are hiding, but the one stacked with cigars. Where is the murder scene model still left? That's the evidence. Although absurd, but as long as the DNA on it can be extracted, or as long as you can find the source along the sewer, I have to save this thing. I got a glass bottle, ready to shovel that model in. The moment my hand touched the model, a piercing meaning runs down the fingertips to the brain. I heard voices not heard by ears. It's a voice that rings directly in the head. Thousands of small voices come together into one sentence. A shrill scream. He is in the wall. He is in the wall. I belong to shaking the glass bottle and falling in the bathtub. Smash, 2 pieces. He is in the wall. These words echoed in my head like a spell. Which side is stronger? I look around. This bathroom is cramped. One side is the load-bearing wall, connected to the corridor. One side is the partition wall, connected to the living room. There is also a wall against the bathtub. Behind is the pipeline well, in the plot that the dangerous civilization just demonstrated. Body dragged into bathroom. The pipes under the bathtub are too thin. It's impossible to stuff a complete adult corpse body, unless that's where the body is disposed of, rather than a place to hide. But those voices said it was in the wall. I'm lying on the bathtub. Put your ear on the tile. Dead silence, except for the occasional sound of water running from old water pipes. Nothing. But I can't ignore that warning. Those creatures survive by devouring the remnants. They are most sensitive to the breath of death. I rummaged through the toolbox, a hammer and a chisel. It's a crazy decision. If I smash open the wall and find nothing, not only do I have to pay for huge losses, we'll also be kicked out by the landlord for destroying the house, or worse, anger him. But I have no choice. The feeling of being watched is getting stronger, as if the air in the whole room was freezing. I chose the tile wall above the bathtub. That's where the connection to the pipeline well is. If there is any space to hide something, only there it hangs down. Tile cracked. The sound is especially harsh in the silent night. I stopped and listened. No response outside the door. It seems that, although the sound insulation effect of this building is poor, but the neighbors are numb to the late-night noise. Or say, they dare not meddle. Keep tapping. Cement layer peeling. Exposed the red bricks inside as the wall breaks. A strange smell wafted out. Not wet smell. That smell has been overshadowed by time. Is a mix of powerful cleaners. lime and some smell of decay. My hands are shaking, but I didn't stop. I removed a red brick. The black pipe well is exposed. I took a flashlight and shone it inside. Pipeline wells are deep, covered with tubes of various thicknesses. Under the beam of flashlight, I see on the bottom beam, hanging in a black plastic bag. The bag is hooked on something, hanging in the air, crumbling. The foot of the bag is damaged, revealed something pale. That's bone, a section of the pubic bone to be exact. I feel dizzy, almost slipped off the edge of the tub. Really, corpse. The landlord didn't ship it out. He hid it in the pipe well. Maybe it's because it's the safest here. Maybe it's because he hasn't had time to deal with it yet. Or he enjoys being in the same room with his victims. Feeling right now. I heard the extremely slight click. That's the sound of the bathroom door lock tongue flicking. I turned back. The door handle of the bathroom is slowly turning. I clearly locked the door, but I forgot this old ball lock. You can poke it open with a suction wire from the outside. And the landlord has spare keys for all door locks in this building. He knows the structure of this lock like the back of his hand. The door is open and the landlord is standing at the door, holding a long, sharp bone shaver in his hand. He didn't turn on the lights. The dim light in the hallway came from behind him. Let his face hide in the shadows. He saw broken tiles all over the floor, saw the hole in the wall, also saw the hammer in my hand. He didn't yet. Instead, it's unusually calm. This calm is scarier than anger. He whispered that he was doing decoration at night. I clenched the hammer in my hand. With your back against the bathtub, there's no way back. I told him I told the police. The police will be here soon. It's a lie. Police in this old town are extremely slow, and my phone is still charging in the living room. The landlord laughed like phlegm stuck in his throat. He said you didn't call the police. I just checked your meter speed downstairs. You are using high-power appliances. Should be using a computer or something. You didn't touch your phone at all. This man's powers of observation are horribly perverted. He goes into the bathroom. The tip of the knife hangs by the side. He said, I didn't want to do it so early. That girl is too noisy. Always bring people back. I just want her to be quiet. As for you, you're too curious. That bathtub, you shouldn't stare. He's getting closer. The narrow space prevents me from swinging the hammer. And his knife can stab straight. Just when he was only 2 meters away from me, suddenly a sound came from the fish tank. It's the sound of countless tiny crustaceans rubbing. That's thousands of feet in pottery. The sound of running on porcelain. The landlord was stunned. He subconsciously glanced into the bathtub. Ote, this moment, black tide gushing out of the drain. Miniature civilization attack. They are no longer scattered individuals, but converged into a black torrent. Climbed up the wall of the fish tank. Eat the landlord's noodle door. The landlord screamed, waving hands, trying to slap something in the face. But those creatures are too small, and they're eating. They got into his nostrils, into his ear, get under his nose. That's what they did to protect God's domain. A holy war to protect this bathtub. Taking advantage of the opportunity for the landlord to scream, I lift the hammer. hit his late wrist with all my strength. The sound of bone cracking. The iron bone knife clanged to the ground. I didn't listen. His knee. Kick him down the hallway. Then rush out and pick up the phone. Dial the police. The police came sooner than I expected. Maybe it's because I'm shouting on the phone, out of murder and corpse. These 4 words. When the landlord was subdued, still scratching my face like crazy. His face was covered with blood. Looks terrifying. The police pressed him into the car, then start blocking the scene. Those broken arms were taken out of the pipeline well. After preliminary comparison, it belongs to a former tenant who has been missing for half a month. I've been sitting by the police car downstairs for the whole trip, wearing a blanket. A young police officer came to take my statement. He asked me how I found out. I hesitated. If I say a bunch of bathrooms, living in bathtubs, what the star villain told me, they'll probably send me straight to a mental hospital. All I can say is I smell a stink. Plus, the landlord is sneaky. I just want to check the plumbing. The police officer nodded, seems to accept this explanation. He said, I was lucky if the suspect is found later, or if he moves first, the consequences are unimaginable. He also mentioned suspect's face suffered severe soft tissue damage, like being corroded by some kind of strong acid. It's like being bitten by insects and ants. The medical examiner is confused about this. Lone Gobi Palace. It's already dawn. I was allowed to go home and get some groceries because this place will be blocked for the time being. I went back to that apartment. Cordon pulled at the door. But I just need to go in and get a bag. I went into the bathroom. The big hole in the wall is still there, darkly mocking the sins of this world. I look at the bathtub. There's nothing there. No more siti. The altar is gone. Not even a stain. As if completely purified. That WeChat civilization disappeared. Maybe it's because their mission is accomplished. Maybe because the body was removed. Their food is cut off. Or maybe they just migrate to the next full of sin, a place of evil and dirt. I packed up and ready to leave. The moment you close the bathroom door, I suddenly found a gap in the edge of the bathtub, stuffed with a tiny piece of confetti. I take a closer look. That's not paper. It's a piece of peeling wall skin about the size of a grain of rice, with some kind of black paint, probably dried blood. A symbol is drawn crookedly. That's an eye. Watching. I feel a chill. It's not just goodbye. It's some kind of mark. I left that building, but I know the story isn't over. That civilization is not extinct. They just lurk. They roam the sewer network, breeding on the dark side of the city. As long as evil happens, as long as the flesh rots, they'll splash the castle again. And before that, I am their only witness. Maybe their next priest? I think of those delicate wounds on the landlord's face. Reminds me of that slightly wrong pantomime. I suddenly realized they showed me more than the truth. More of a threat to show strength. They're telling me we're watching you. Wherever you move. As long as there is a water pipe, as long as there are shadows, we are with you. I felt the new apartment keys in my pocket, fingers trembling slightly. I don't know in the bathtub there what will wait for me. First night in this fancy apartment. I thought I was totally out of that nightmare. This is the 26th floor of the city center. 24-hour security and central air conditioning. Everything smells expensive and sterile. No moldy corners. Pipes without seepage. There are no dark tube building corridors. There are only bright city lights outside the floor-to-ceiling window, and an almost illusory sense of security. But this sense of security only lasted until the morning of the third day. In the corner of the apartment living room, there is a huge built-in ecological fish tank. It was left by the money owner. There were a few precious arowana in it. But the day after I moved in, they all turned their stomachs. I fished out the dead fish and disposed of them, but didn't have time to change the water. That morning, first, I was awakened by an ambiguous vibration. The sound comes from the living room. It's like there are countless tiny wrong knives being polished. Glass eye bounced out of bed. Grab a baseball bat. It's just that I went through the last event. Habits formed later. I slowly approached that fish tank. Turbid water becomes crystal clear because all the impurities are used. At the bottom of the fish tank, a magnificent black tower stands. That's not the remains of an ancient civilization, but an extremely modern architectural model. His structure, proportions, and even the arrangement of windows, it's all the same as the one I live in now. Skyscrapers are exactly the same. My heart contracted violently. They followed. They didn't go through the sewers. Maybe it's attached to my luggage. Maybe it's hidden in the soles of my shoes. Not only did they follow, and in this closed glass case, use the sand and gravel at the bottom of the fish tank, and organic matter left over from dead fish, rebuilt a new stronghold. I approached the glass wall. Watch those busy black spots. This time, their form has changed again. They are no longer warriors with cold weapons, more like a worker. The ends of their limbs evolved similar. Structure of suction cups and pliers. The speed of swimming in the water is amazing. What scares me the most is they're remodeling a model of that building. They densely clustered on the 27th floor of the model. That's the layer above my head. They're frantically digging that floor. Or they're simulating some kind of collapse. Black particles continue to peel off layer 27 of the model. Drop 26 floors, which symbolizes the location of my residence. This is not a simple building. This is prophecy. They are warning me. Something is about to collapse overhead. I look up at the white ceiling. There's nothing but fancy chandeliers and smoke alarms. Nothing at all. But I know that dangerous civilization never goes wrong. They survive by devouring cause and effect and traces. Funny if they decide there's danger on it. Then there must be a deadly threat brewing. Just then, there was a dull dragging sound upstairs. The sound is heavy, like some kind of large weight rubbing against the ground. This was followed by a sharp metal crash. Then die. To test my guess, I ran into a resident on the 27th floor in the elevator. That's one that looks impeccable. Picking middle-aged man, well-dressed custom suit, wearing gold-whipped glasses. There is a faint smell of disinfectant on the body. The property manager told me he is a well-known chemist. owns a private research institute in the city. In the narrow space of the elevator, I try to read outpoint from his expression. He nodded politely to me and questioned. Eyes are as indifferent as two pieces of ice. I noticed his right hand, band-aid wrapped around index finger. There's a tiny little bit left between the fingernails. Dark red stain. That's not blood, more like the color of some kind of chemical precipitation. The elevator reaches the 27th floor. He got out of the car. The moment on the door box, I saw him not walking towards his door, but standing by the fire hydrant in the hallway. Seems to be checking something. When I got home, I immediately rushed to the fish tank. The scene has changed. WeChat civilization no longer digs the floor. They started releasing a yellow mist in the water. Key is what they have been in the body from now on. Some kind of oil extracted, turbid, liquid created by mixing sediment. These liquids have not spread, but like a yellow venomous snake. Fine, accurate entanglement in the ventilation duct position of the building model. Let them simulate the spread of poison gas. I feel suffocated. This building uses a central envelope system. Pipes for all residents are connected to some extent. Although there is a filter, but if it is some highly volatile and highly toxic gas, I have to figure out what's going on upstairs. This time, I didn't smash the wall recklessly like last time. The security system here is too tight. Any damage will attract security. I need more definitive evidence, or I need to use my allies. I found a slender application catheter. One end into the fish tank. The other end connects me from the hardware store. Bought a small water pump. I'm going to put the water in the fish tank. Along with those tiny creatures, pull out some of them. It's a risky move. If they attack me, I might die in my own home. But when I put the catheter in, those creatures didn't hide. Instead, they are rushing to take the exam. They seem to understand my intentions. They are revenge, trapped in a glass cage. Muse, they long for release. Desire to touch the source of sin. I collected a small bottle and high-density miniatures. Biological black water. Late that night, I quietly climbed to the rooftop of the building. The 27th floor is the top floor, but there is also an access port to the rooftop above his house. I found the corresponding bathroom exhaust. Fun trend. The fan is turning slowly. Empty discharge with a sweet, bitter almond smell in the air. I hold my take out that bottle of black water, pour down the gap in the fan blades. Go ahead and see what's hidden below. Back to the apartment. I put the surveillance camera next to the fish tank. The head is connected to the phone. Although I can't see the picture upstairs, but I can get through the fish tank. Judging by the reaction of the body situation, the creatures in the fish tank began to agitate violently. They wandered wildly on the surface of the Mastar building, patchwork together complex geometric shapes. That's messaging. Suddenly, they stopped swimming. In the glass, arranged in a few crooked typefaces. This is their first taste. Try text communication with me. Before, they only knew about creation. Don't understand language, obviously. Devoured the conspiracy with a certain intelligence. Fish plus long-term observation of the human environment. Let them purify their learning ability. The writing on the glass is made up of countless black dots. Ink is lonely and variable. Mass production container collapsed. These 6 words make my back chill. What to mass produce. Who is the container? What is collapse? Then the magic changed. They tore down the original structure. Long cylinders are piled up on the base. That's a jar, countless jars. I quickly pieced together clues in my mind. Chemist disinfecting water tastes bitter. Jars with plenty of almond flavor. He's making scarves, drug, or some kind of biochemical. And a crash means his device is about to go out of control. Or he intends to destroy everything before Just then, suddenly, a dream came from upstairs. Not an explosion. It's the sound of some kind of pressure vessel leaking. I heard a burst from the ventilation duct overhead. Rapid airflow. Then the water in the fish tank boiled. All the tiny creatures start. Crazy hit. The glass wall. They're not running away. They are testing the police. They sense trace amounts of poison in the elements are infiltrating through the fresh air system. The chemist's experiment failed. Or on purpose. High concentrations of poison gas are spreading down the pipeline. I have to leave now and notify the whole building. But I just ran to the door. The footsteps stopped. If I pull to the alarm now, everyone will be evacuated through the stairs. And poison gas is heavier than air, will sink down the stairwell. Let everyone rush into the stairwell at this time. Equal to the source must be cut off. I look at the fish tank. The creatures in there are still hitting the glass. They want to go. They are not afraid of death. They're the only thing that neutralizes that toxin. In the last incident, they can even decompose corpses corroded by strong acid. This chemical gas is for them. Maybe just another form of nutrition. I made a crazy decision. I picked up the heavy fish tank and rushed out of the house. The elevator stops on the 26th floor. I hold the fish tank. Press the button on the 27th floor. This is the heaviest ending I've ever done in my life. Exercise is not only because of the weight of water, it's because I'm holding a civilization in my hands. A miniature war. Elevator doors open on the 27th floor. The corridor is filled with the naked eye. Visible, pale, yellow mist. I hold my resisting breath, the sting of my eyes. Rush to the closed door. The door is a combination lock. Also, an explosion-proof door. I can't get in at all. But the chemist obviously didn't expect the leak will come so soon. Yellow liquid is oozing out from under the crack of the door. I didn't hesitate. Smash the fish tank directly to the ground. There was a loud bang. Tempered glass crushing. Tens of liters of water mixed with sand and billions of tiny creatures instantly covered the corridor. Eat it, and I'm yelling in my heart. Black tide spreads on the floor. The moment they were exposed to the yellow venom made a sizzling sound. No imagined death, only crazy devouring. Those tiny creatures absorb water like sponges, quickly wrapped those yellow liquids. Black and yellow intertwined, tumbling. Eventually turned into a harmless gray powder. They got in through the crack of the door. I heard screams from inside the door. That's not the scream of being eaten. It was a cry of horror. The chemist saw the violation, a scene in the science factory, the deadly poison he made. Being attacked by a group of naked eyes, almost invisible bugs eat, dry, white, clean. I took the opportunity to cover my mouth and nose and rushed to the fire hydrant. Smash the glass. Pulled out the fire water bag. I aimed at the electronic lock position on that door. Turned on the high-pressure water gun. The current hits the door lock, but also for those tiny creatures. Provides a better carrier. They follow the current, rushed into the house without hindrance. After a few seconds, the door opened from the inside. The chemist stumbled out, face covered in blood. He waved his hands, like trying to get rid of something. But there are no bugs on him. Those miniature creatures didn't attack him. Their goal is something tastier. The leaked chemicals in the house. He saw me, eyes full of killing intent. He pulled a homemade pistol from his arms. The black muzzle is pointed at me. He said, I shouldn't meddle. He's just clearing the inventory. The life or death of the people in this building has nothing to do with him. I stand where I am, still holding a fire water bag spraying with water. But I didn't block because I saw behind him, in a house full of poison, a huge black figure is condensing. That's the masterpiece of a dangerous civilization. They devoured enough chemicals, gained enough energy. They built a makeshift building in the air. Huge body. The figure sticks out. One. A big hand made up of 10,000 microbytes. Tapped the chemist on the shoulder. The chemist turned back stiffly. At this moment, I jerked the fire water bag. The high-pressure water column hit his wrist hard. The pistol flew out. The black figure instantly collapsed into countless black spots covered the chemists like a rainstorm. They didn't eat him. Just use this heavy, choking cover. Press him to the floor. Immobilize him. The well flute finally sounded downstairs. That night, the entire building was evacuated. Police are on the 27th floor, seized a huge illegal system factory, and enough flammable and explosive to blow up half a block. Raw materials chemist arrested. He has been talking nonsense in Shenzhen. Said there was a black devil in the house. Said his gas was gassed by a swarm of invisible ants. Police believe he inhaled the gas and caused the hallucinations. The results of the site investigation were very strange. All chemical ingredients are neutralized. A harmless gray dust. It's like weathering for hundreds of years. No poison gas leaked downstairs. There was no explosion. I'm the only witness and the only hero. But I told the police, I just want to go up and put out the fire. Accidentally broke the bathtub. The water just flowed into the house. As for why the gas disappeared, I don't know. Maybe some kind of chemical reaction happened. This explanation is full of loopholes, but civilization in a bathtub saved the world. Much easier to accept. I didn't move out after things calmed down. I also cleaned the hallway. Compensation for my expensive fish tank. I bought a new fish tank. Put it in its original position. That night, I swept a handful back from the corner of the hallway. Gray dust gently into the new bathtub. Rippling water. In a few minutes, the sand grains at the bottom of the water start to move. A new city begins to rise. This time, what they build is no longer a spooky execution ground. It is no longer a dangerous building with early warning. They are at the bottom of the fish tank with that gray dust. Built a miniature garden. That's the apartment, a perfect replica of the downstairs garden. Even the location of the fountain and benches is the same. And in the middle of the garden, they put up a small statue. The statue has a tube in his hand. Heroic posture. That's me with the fire hose. I looked at that statue. Eyes are a little hot. I finally understood the meaning of that eye symbol. That's not surveillance. That's staring. In their ancient and simple logic, I provided water, provided food, even took them on a hunt. Fight criminals in their eyes. I am not the host. I am the totem of this god's domain. He's their priest. Also, their comrades. They won't hurt me. They are the most loyal guards in this room. The days are calm again. I started to learn to live with this miniature civilization. I found that they are very clean. As long as I put the leftover bones or fruit, throw the skin into the fish tank, it will be decomposed in a few minutes and there will be no residue left. Into pure nutrients. My fish, the most efficient garbage disposal in the world. It is also the most accurate security system. If someone with bad intentions comes near my door, the water in the fish tank will turn red. If the weather is about to change dramatically, they will build the shelter model in advance. I even started feeding them different ingredients. See what they can make. Give them metal crabs. They built a steel fort. Give them sawdust. They make elaborate pavilions. A wonderful tacit understanding has formed between us. I protect them from the outside world. They protect me from the unknown. Late at night, I sat in front of the French window with a wine glass, looking out the window at the city. The city is still full of sin, secrets and shadows in corners. There are still countless unknown horrors lurking. There are still hidden deals in the building. But I'm no longer afraid. I looked back at the fish tank. Under the faint nightlight, that sweet city is having an unstable operation. Countless smiling lives thrive in it. They don't need words. No need for law. They only have the purest survival instinct and absolute order. In this chaotic world, I have an army that belongs to me. I raise my tapped the fish tank lightly. Good night, everyone. Countless needle tip-sized black spots in the fish tank stopped at the same time, laugh at me. Although I can't see the expression, but I can feel it. That's them questioning me. I drank my glass, lying on the sofa, fall into a long-lost peaceful dreamland. I see, no matter what ghosts try to get close tonight, before they cross the threshold, will first face a battle from the micro world. Absolute judgment.